What is entrepreneurship? What is the future of job markets? Why is there a startup buzz in India? And what do students need to learn in their college life to enter into this new world of entrepreneurship? This is a conversation about startups, entrepreneurship, education, youth, and India. And to converse with us, we have Radhika Agarwal Ghai, co-founder of ShopClues, the first woman to become a unicorn founder. Pleasure to have you, ma'am, with us here.
Thank you so much for having me. I am very excited to be here. Sahil, I love your background. I love everything that Rishihood is trying to do. And जब हम कहते हैं कि भारत बदल रहा है, this is an example. It truly is changing. It's growing, and you guys are making as much of an impact as any of us in the startup ecosystem.
Thank you so much for that encouragement. Actually, when we look at the aspirations and the ambitions of youth, that gives us a lot of confidence that this is what people need. We just have to provide it. And one phrase that we use is the aspiration of our youth has changed. Their education cannot be the same.
Yes.
So with changing aspirations, we have to change education. But I particularly want to talk to you about education and its relevance for entrepreneurs, because a lot of times it is said that entrepreneurs are born, they're not trained or created. So you come from a non-business family background. So at what point did it happen in your life that you thought that entrepreneurship is the right thing for you? How did that happen? And is it true that how true is it that one has to be from a business background to get into business?
So I think it really goes back to the same philosophy that you were talking about, right? That the world is changing, so our education has to change as well. My father was in the army, and very simple philosophy in life that you can do anything you want to do. Problem hai ki what is the definition of anything? And how we understand anything is what is the vision that we have? How far can we see? If we don't see enough role models, we don't know what we can be.
Correct.
And that's truly been the story of my life as well. I've always believed that I am equal to the other person who's sitting across the table or doing better things in life. If I see someone else able to do it, whether that's a man or a woman, whether that's an engineer or a non-technical person, I believe I can do it too. And I think that is very important in education as well. So if you ask me today, did I know what an entrepreneur is? Did I know what startups are? Did I know what founders are? Did I know what business is? Not really. But it is the ability to believe that I am equal to the others and I can train myself. I can learn to be anything that I want to be is the reason why I'm sitting here today. And if I have one advice for any of the students who are watching it, the fact is look for role models. Look around you. If the other person can do it, you can do it too. Just make sure you train yourself well to get there.
Right. In fact, when we are talking to the students, when we are interviewing them for admissions, we typically ask that who are your role models, whom do you aspire to become? And some of the most common answers are startup founders like you, because people, I think compared to my time and my parents' time to now, role models have really changed. I think there is a very evident startup or entrepreneurship buzz that's going around in the young mind, and it's a serious thing. We don't find that as a frivolous kind of a fervor. We find that to be very serious. What are your thoughts on how the startup ecosystem or the business ecosystem in India is shaping, and what are your hopes or projections about the India story?
I am incredibly proud of the way our entire industry has shaped up and what we stand for today as well, right? Whether you look at the number of unicorns, and you look at success in any which way, right? Whether it's the number of unicorns that are coming out, it's the kind of innovation that's coming out, the kind of support that the government has been able to provide, the kind of role models that are available for all of us to see today. जब हम बड़े हो रहे थे, there was very little, you saw corporate heroes, but you didn't really see people who had been able to build something. You needed to be, I don't know if it happened with you, but I remember any time I'd ask my parents for something, they would say, हम टाटा बिरला नहीं हैं. And that just means that we're not as rich. we were a country of the middle class, right? Our biggest failing was our population, and that has changed. Our biggest strength is our population. Our biggest strength is that we are aspirational.
Correct.
Our biggest strength is that we are walking with our heads held high, believing that we can do better technology than the West. We can do better companies than the rest of the world. And I think that has really been the biggest change there's been, right? For the common man today, people who have built something, people like them who went to the same colleges that they went to, who were possibly sitting behind the camera at one point and now are in front of the camera and are running larger companies, are great role models. You don't, Tata Birlas, of course, they built something from scratch over generations. So lots of respect to them, but you don't need to be just them. You can make a change in that just single generation. And that's the biggest thing that's changed, right? And that's all you need. You need role models. You need to change the culture.
Yeah, I totally agree. In fact, when we reflect back, we realize that the generation that was born in 50s or 60s, they kind of created a safety net for our generation so that we didn't have to worry about survival.
Absolutely.
So that when we have that kind of a question, then automatically our risk appetite kind of goes up. So we are seeing this more and more in youths as their safety net increases. But great to hear from you that you are seeing a very positive,
very positive,
future for the country. Great. Entrepreneurship a lot of times becomes kind of a fanciful idea for the students, and it appears to be very attractive. But what are some of the very tough, stressful moments in an entrepreneur's life? You must be, facing so many. So what are those moments? So before entering the world of entrepreneurship, someone should.
Yes, I cannot agree more with you. I think the glamorization, as I call it, the glamorization of entrepreneurship has been taken a little bit too far. It's possible. It's possible to achieve the goals you set for yourself. But there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. And any of the entrepreneurs that you talk to, right, you hear about people creating billion-dollar companies. You hear about people creating $10 billion companies. You hear about people creating $50 billion companies, right? The fact is that there is a lot of, Hindi mein, there's a word, ghisna. There's a lot of hard work that goes into it. So when people get into IIT, right, we say, oh, that guy's so smart, he got into IIT. What we don't see is the hours and hours and hours of work they put in. The fact that they probably went to an alternate school for 2 years, worked their politically incorrect, but asses off to just get into that college, right? It's a similar concept. It's very easy to just see what is the chamak dhamak, as they call it, right? But there is so much work that goes into it. But I keep coming back to it that, how do you build the culture of a company, a college, of a country? It's the heroes you hold high. It's the stories you tell. It's the actions you take. So while it is very, very challenging, I think all of this is equally important as well.
True.
For people to understand that that's a real option for you. That's an alternate that you can do. You need a little bit of a risk appetite. You've already mentioned that. And you can build $1 billion company. It is not, it's not something that only the rich can do anymore. So that's definitely there, but everybody should be very well aware that there is a lot of hard work that goes into it, a lot of grit, a lot of persistence, showing up every day. Rome was not built in a day, and I can promise you Flipkart was not built in a day either.
That's very true. In fact, that is something that we feel is not prominently nurtured in education. Education is about formal curriculum. So we would be learning a lot of concepts, fundamentals, theory, even practical skills. But this aspect of hard work and, being devoted to that, I think that is missing. But you're saying that is extremely important, in the life of an entrepreneur. Being a unicorn founder, what are your views or your expectations from education? from both the students and from educators like me, if we would like our students to become like you, what advice would you have for the program here?
So I have advice for you, and this is advice for myself as well, because I have two boys. And as I see them grow up, I always think of, what would I like them to have, right? Of course, the formal education, subjects, what is the curriculum is all very important, but learning habits. I wish that there is a lot more emphasis on learning habits in colleges, learning habits in school, right? What does consistency truly mean? What does grit truly mean? It's not about showing up at the last day and acing your exam. It's not about just mugging up stuff. It's understanding the basic concepts and learning the ability to work on them.
Yeah.
So while the curriculum is really, really important, I wish that school like yours, new age schools that are putting out students, that are putting out our new citizens, right? Citizens of the future. Learning habits, a lot more emphasis on that would be amazing. That would be a complete education. That, for me, that's a wholesome education where you, of course, understand the content well, you understand the curriculum well, but you understand learning habits well as well. You have a growth mindset that's inculcated into you from the place of your education, because that's where it should start.
I agree. I think so. A lot of success, what we see as a final outcome is a result of a long, execution of those habits, which are built, built in practice over a long period of time. And if we can start that at college age, I think that would be ideal.
They should start at college age. They should start at college age, because that's also the time when the students are vulnerable, they're passionate, they want to prove themselves. So while curriculum is really important, content is important, learning habits, I feel, make or break a career going forward.
That was some very wonderful pieces of advice that we got from you. So for the young students and aspiring entrepreneurs who are watching this conversation, some of the takeaways are that hard work, no shortcut to hard work. Ghisna padta hai if you really want to succeed in life as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is not just about starting a business. It's a mindset that we have to nurture, as Radhika ji was saying, and you are in the right place at the right time. This is the future of entrepreneurship. India is on an upward trajectory when it comes to business innovation, startups and entrepreneurship. So make the best use of this opportunity. It may not come again. Thank you so much. Thank you, Radhika ma'am, for this excellent interaction.
Thank you so much, Sahil.